Hello everybody, and welcome to Devil Hell number 12, Diablo Immortal Shop, Pay to Win, and Loose Bits video. I am Dredscythe, and I'll be leading you through this last video in this Diablo Immortal Technical Alpha Feedback series. Now, this will be a little bit shorter. I'll finally be addressing that whole, my personal, as best objective viewpoint, yet still subjective in nature, on the whole pay to win aspect, as well as loose bits that didn't really fit here or there, but I'll still point them here because sometimes addressing things that worked out or were in there and they just worked is just as good as pointing out things that didn't work. So I'll reserve that for that section at the end. So starting off with the shop itself, is where you'll buy the orbs. That's the pay to win. See, we're already getting there, folks. Is the paid currency that you'll be going for if you choose to go for it, and you'll be able to buy those legendary crests. You'll be able to buy those family bonus specific reforged stones, which again isn't the only way you can get them. You can get them through other means in the game, and you'll be able to buy platinum, which is used for other things in the game as well. So there's actually not too many things you can buy in the game. Now, as I said a couple of videos ago, the primary concern, as we shift very quickly from the shop to the pay to win segment of the video, it kind of comes around Elder Rifts in combination with legendary crests. And for those that don't know or may have not been paying attention that much, the way you get your legendary gems is primarily through running an Elder Rift with an Elder Crest use, because an Elder Crest guarantees that you'll get a random legendary gem. It may be a legendary gem you can use, it may not be. But going over what legendary gems do, they don't only have their primary effect and their secondary, they also have they also increase the base stats of that item you put them in by 8%. And I think the base percent is anywhere between 15 to 20%. But when you get up to like rank 4 or 5 and beyond, it increases to 40, 45, 50. So it can be a pretty big increase, even if the base values for those stats are pretty small. I think like the biggest stat I had was on my weapon, and it was like 72 willpower. So when you're starting off with relatively small stats, gaining 50% more of that is pretty huge. So that's where the overall concern is for pay to win in Diablo Immortal, because that's where potential big power grab is going to come from. Because it's not just the having a low rank legendary gem versus a high rank legendary gem. It really is a concern about people who are purely free to play. If I remember correctly, when you're looking at what was released in technical alpha, I think there were a total of 4 legendary crests you could obtain along both the free to play and the paid rail of the battle pass. So that would be a total of 4 legendary gems, but they're random. So you may get all of the same one. You may get 2 of one and 2 of another, 3 of one, 1 of another, or 4 different ones. So you don't really know what you're going to get. So you really kind of have to get quite a few to make sure that you get 6 legendary gems that are good enough to put in your 6 primary pieces of gear. I think that's where the problem is. And I think that's going to be the big determining factor of whether people who want to be competitive, who really want to play but don't want to spend the money, will just play Diablo Immortal casually versus actually putting in the effort, because there will always be that tinge of, am I fighting against people evenly, or am I really just fighting against myself at the end of the day? because everyone else is, just buying legendary crests, and I'm the only one really being true free to play. And at the end of the day, it's what it is. I think the game overall, even in this alpha state with quite a few things still missing from it, is still worthy of playing. Still worthy very much of playing. Now, my initial first thoughts of like, because if you know me with these development hells, I'm always thinking like, how could we rectify this? The first initial thought was like, well, just give Elder Rifts like a 2 to 5% base chance of just dropping a legendary gem. But the consequences of that could be potentially huge, because this game actually does a really good job of wanting to get you into the world. And it would suck if all that good faith and good effort to really want to get the players into the real world to farm the real world would basically be kneecapped, because the legendary gems are so good and can potentially be so strong that we're just running Elder Rifts all day because we need those gems. And that would be a real shame, because the game as a whole, all the systems from layers to dungeons to pop-up events to the world to bounties are really good, and you would be ignoring all of that just to do Elder Rifts, something that we're used to doing Diablo 3, but we're all sick of it at this point. We want something different. So thinking like, how could that initial version 1 idea be refined so it fits Diablo Immortal, and it fits, more importantly, what their goal was and they succeeded in, which was get you into the world and get you into all the aspects of it, again being dungeons, layers, etc. And I was thinking, what if, and this is going to sound bad because it's like, what if elite packs, epic, pop-up event mobs, boss mobs, etc., champ mobs, as well as legendary mobs, those particular ones had a small chance, anywhere between a 2 to 5% at max, and that would be a 5% chance on legendary mobs, because they're legendary, they're one of the hardest mobs, so give them the best chances, and they're really rare too. Give them all a chance to drop a lesser shard of the world stone. Like, use the lore of the game with the currency system, and put a vendor in the game that once you've collected, say, 5 or 10 of those fragments, you can just trade it in straight for a legendary gem. And I feel that would be with iteration and tweaking, I feel that would be the best way to make sure people who want to stay free to play can stay free to play. That, yes, of course, they will have to put in more effort, but that effort will be rewarded enough to make them feel that not only can they continue to play, that they want to play, but they can be almost equal, if not the same competitive, be on the same level as people who are paying for them, or feel they have a chance. I think that's the most important thing. Feel that they have a chance to compete with people who are paying for legendary crests, and just basically, at that point, it's not pay to win, it's pay to progress, or pay to advance. So we're kind of blunting the edge of the arrowhead, so to speak. And incentivizes the correct play that you, the developer, have set up, that, at least from my standpoint, I truly appreciate that I can go out into the world and be just as well rewarded than going to a dungeon and going to a lair. To be rewarded for going out to the world, seeking out those elite packs, seeking out those legendary mobs. I feel that system, that version 2 idea I said, at least from my eye, would be a good compromise if something like that could be worked out. And I know for my aspect, it would only make me want to play more, because then I could be like, okay, today I'm going to do my bounties, I'm going to go into open world. Then it's almost like you can almost like scheduleize your play, like Monday and Tuesday I'm just going to do my bounties, get enough materials just to rank up this one legendary piece of gear from rank 6 to rank 11, so I get that. The next day I'm going to do a whole bunch of dungeons and the like, to get as many regular gems as possible, to get a few of my gems up to the next rank. And then the next day or two after that, I'm just going to focus on going to the open world when I have the time to do that. Or if I have 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here, just run through a whole bunch of Elder Rifts. Because the thing that I haven't said is, like, yes, we're putting the emphasis on elite packs, champ packs, boss, purple, pop-up events, and legendary mobs. But besides the legendary mobs, all the other ones are in Elder Rifts too. Except Elder Rifts are a concentrated place. So Elder Rifts don't, if anything, get more elevated because their purpose is still there, and it's the same purpose as if you were putting a legendary crest in there. So there's almost no differentiation going from what it is to that version 2 idea. It's just now Elder Rifts become a thing you can do if you only have like 5, 10, 15 minutes. And you don't really have enough time to run your bounties. You don't really have enough time to go into the open world. But it makes better use of your time. It helps you make more efficient. And if you log in and you have 30 minutes, 40 minutes, then hey, go into open world. You still have the same amount of time, but you're getting other things done as well, which is what the game does so well right now. And that's why I proposed the version 2 idea, because it doesn't break that. Because breaking that real world farm experience again would be so harmful and detrimental to the game. I'd rather not be there, because I don't want to run Elder Rifts all day, because we've been doing that for years in Diablo 3. We're just running riff, and there's something else better to do. So I guess in summation, our legendary crest pay to win, I can't not see it not being pay to win. Is it guaranteed? No, because again, you're gonna get, it's random, the legendary gem you get at the end of the day. So you're gonna have to pump a lot of money to make sure you get the correct gem at the right rank that you want it to be at the end of the day. But just the fact that you're getting those legendary gems versus someone who's not putting legendary crests in, so who's not getting any, it's kind of cut and dry. And I understand it's hard balancing that this is a mobile game. There needs to be some kind of monetization and a hook for that monetization. But I feel like there needs to be a balancing point. That's why I proposed that version 2 idea before, and thought about it as much as I could. But other than that, that's it. And that in itself, you know, this big focus on legendary crests, legendary gems, and Elder Rifts. The only reason why that's like that is because there's nothing else really in the game screams pay to win. So I think that's why there's such a laser-like focus on this, because this is really the big concern that I think a lot of us have. So I think that's a testament to how well the game is laid out, and I'm sure there's been internal struggles for what should and shouldn't be in the shop as well. So I can appreciate, I want to make sure I give that feedback, that I personally appreciate how much they did willingly give to us, the players, for nothing in this game, and how much we can do. Because it could have been a lot worse looking at other companies and what they do. So with that, we're going to go into the fun little last bit, which is loose bits. And these loose bits are just going to be things I've come across and I just want to recognize through my just over 2 weeks of play. It was quite 2.5 weeks total for us, but it was close to that. So first thing is the heavy ornate chests that can spawn in random areas of the world. Those are great when you found them, because for those who don't know, you had to basically, there's special chests in the world that you had to get a full party assembled in an area, and all 4 party members had to open them at the same time. Unfortunately, more times than not, the reward that came from them was a little bit lackluster. So maybe up in the rewards or what you can get from them, you know, again, something unique. Doesn't have to be strong, but something unique to warrant trying to rustle 3 other players before someone else comes along, sees it, and they get their other 3 players first, would be a great thing. It's one of those weird, quirky small additions, but it gives that much more life to the open world exploration. So great addition. But also, what the hell is the spawn timer about? Because there were often times where I found one, and by the time I could do LF, 3M, H2, library, PST, exclamation point, it would already despawn. I'm like, so, like, figure out, like, you know, they last until they're open, or they last until a certain hour markers hit, like, whatever. Also, challengers were always one floor. And it seems weird that we didn't notice it, but for coming from Diablo 3, it's like we're used to going floor 2, floor 3, floor 4, even floor 5 sometimes to get the right map, the right mobs. But with challengers, it's always one floor. I don't think I either myself or was watching anyone else playing the Tech Alpha ever went to a second floor, if even possible. So that was always great, because even though fishing is a thing in Immortal, the fact that it's always one floor means that you're basically, if you're going to be a real pusher for challengers, you're just cycling for the mobs at that point. Whatever mobs you feel are better for you. So by consequence, by everything just being one floor, it's a matter of, am I just getting the right mobs? So the fishing goes down, so everyone has a better opportunity regardless of if they're aiming to be a good fisher or just playing casually with challengers, that is. Also, challengers require no keys. That's another great thing, along with Eldoris. So it's just like one of those things, like, you don't really notice in the moment, but once you've had time to reflect after the Tech Alpha that we've been doing so long, you notice these small little things, small little changes, and you're like, oh my god, that's such a great change. I didn't realize it during testing, but it's so great right now. Other things is when I was going over the Zone 1 events, I forgot about the mysterious scroll in the Shatter Sea. I'm sorry, basically the desert area. And the cool scrolls that you find in the library. The scrolls that you find in the library, you kind of find them passively, and then once you collect 5 of them, it's like you take 5 pages, essentially make a book, and then you open that book and makes a portal to a different zone. You can kind of get what we're calling April Fool's version, which it doesn't really give you anything. Or more times than not, you get ported to an area where you clear some monsters, and if you clear, essentially like a wave clear, you get a 4 chest, which is actually a really good, easy way of getting crafting materials, all that kind of stuff. So again, it's good that it's there, but I feel like that one, along with the mysterious scroll, along with the other zone specific ones, there needs to be a little bit something more unique to them. Also, I think I failed to mention the haunted carriage. Can the carriage itself also be ghostly and kind of transparent and see-through a little bit? Because not only for aesthetics, but also because a lot of the monsters spawn right at the wheels, so you're basically just shooting a breeze into the carriage and thinking, like, am I killing the things? I did? Alright, good. I guess. Move on to the next pit stop, essentially. So if there's a way of having the carriage itself be ghostly and see-through, so you can actually see the mobs, so you can actually know where you're aiming your channel skills or your cone skills, that would be great. Afterwards, kind of touching on some of the dungeons specifically, Skeleton King was definitely a favorite one to do, not just because it was quick, but just because just because it was quick. I mean, it was 3 acts, 3 different boss fights. It was rather straightforward. The Cultist Rapids, I almost love. I understand it. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The Cultist Rapids I love because it's something very different with the fight on the rafts and how your character's constantly shifting because the ground, or albeit the raft, is always shifting. So that's a new unique element that we haven't had really before ever. What I meant to say before is Farhir, I think I'm saying it right. basically the Egyptian one theme. And I think, ironically, and like for the same reason why I love the Cultist Rapids, like I feel bad for saying like this was probably my most disliked one, because if it wasn't for the fact that like I had to go kill the first totem, kill the second totem, kill the main boss, and then if I had the opportunity of going straight to the last spider dude and kill him, being the final boss, I would feel a lot better. But just the fact that there's that elevator scene we have to go through, it feels like it elongates the whole dungeon itself. And I say that as a player, but on the same token, I appreciate that elevator fight because it's great atmospherics. It's the same reason why I think a lot of us, when we reflect back on Reaper of Souls, during the course of the whole story, I think we all love the whole ramming of the Pandemonium Fortress event so much, because it was just so different compared to what we're used to doing in a Diablo game. So I like the elevator portion of that dungeon in a vacuum, but comparably to the whole dungeon itself, I feel it just elongates it too much. So that's why I'd rather refresh it and try to get the Mad King or the Blood Countess, or I think what wound up being my favorite one was actually Destruction's End, because I knew that every time I was going to do it, that little countdown timer was going to happen, and that was a source of adrenaline. Like, can I beat it this time? Okay, I did it on normal. Can I do it on Hell 1? Okay, I did it on Hell 1, and can I do it on Hell 2? And it was that little secondary goal that made Destruction's End probably the most favorite for me. And in a similar vein, as we talked about Legendary Crests and what they do and what they give, Rare and Legendary Crests can also alter Elder Rifts to give positive or negative effects. So the two I love the most, probably shared by a lot of people, is when it just straight up removed the Rift Guardian, which turned you to a cocky bastard, because you're like, oh, I have all the time in the world, I'm just going to try to pull a group of 50 mobs and try to kill them all in one shot, and most of the time you die, or you kill 40 of them before you die, and then the other ones reset and like, who cares, do it again. But the other one was the Beat the Clock, which, if I am guessing correctly, I think Elder Rifts are 10-minute timer, and the Beat the Clock is like I want to say 4 minutes, but it may be like 3 minutes 55 seconds. Who knows? And that was always like, you saw that and you just instantly got that adrenaline hit. You're like, oh no, like, I don't care what it says, I have Beat the Clock, I gotta go. And you're just going. You're like, you're basically seeking, destroying elite packs, and then just killing everything else if you can along the way, because you gotta move. Especially if the Rift Guardian at the end takes 45 seconds to almost a minute and a half, depending on what difficulty it is for you and how long your character takes to do it. That was also a great thing. Just quick notes on the UI. Like some people said, the services button should be a little bigger. You know, when you're going to the blacksmith, when you're going to the charm crafter, etc., etc. If that button could be a little bit bigger. And also, I think for the bounty, I don't want to say vendor, because he doesn't really do anything, but the person you talk to basically turn in your bounties, you have to click through one dialogue screen to actually get the services button pop up, if I remember correctly. Which is a little bit weird, because that can confuse people initially on their first couple of times going through, until they eventually get that memory in there. It's like, just make it consistent, make it pop up the first time someone talks to them, talks to that person, and that would be great. Apparently the guild size limit is 150. All I gotta say is that maybe 10 years ago that was fine, but we live in the age of Twitch communities, personality communities, which number in the hundreds, if not thousands. So there may be a feasibility with, like, you know, loading up people. I know that was a big thing in Diablo 3, the loading up of so many people when you went to that interface. But getting to at least 250, 300, at least doubling that would be great, because otherwise all these personalities that have been testing the game, when they go to do their guild, are going to basically have to say, I'm sorry guys, we're basically going to have to do a lottery to get you in. So it can be, even though it may not be seen as restrictive, when it gets to the people who actually want to make their communities in-game, it can be considered really restrictive, and it could really make us, the players, put us in a bind when we're trying to figure out how do we distinguish from a Twitch community that has 1,000 people who gets in, who doesn't. And then that starts getting into weird things like, okay, who's top subscribers, who's top donators, who donates the most bits, and then that becomes a natural case of distinction. I know that's not you, the developer's problem, but it's a problem that is a result of this decision. So it's more a case of, let's be a little bit more realistic in, I guess, in our expectations of community sizes, I guess is what I'm getting at. Yeah, I guess the last thing in my notes really is making the bestiary a little bit clearer. Like it took us all, I think, a long time to understand, like, okay, it's really a roulette. You can hit a page that has bestiary, but even to this day, I'm still a little confused. Like, can I just keep on going until I hit 3 pages, or can I only hand in 3 times a day and that's it? Like, it's still a little unclear. So having a little bit more information, maybe just simplifying the system a little bit. The randomability of the system is fine. It's just making it clear, like, okay, you have like 3 shots a day, or if you unlock 3 pages today, then you're done, and just not allow us to turn in more. Let that be a natural way of saying, like, okay, you've done your maximum, you can't hand in, because nothing sucks more than having 10, handing it in, and then the game says, oh, you've reached your 3-a-day limit, come back tomorrow. It's like, then why did it allow me to turn in 10 monster essences? Yeah, little things like that. Other than that, I'll finish this video and this whole 4-port Tech Alpha feedback with a giant thank you to the Diablo Immortal development team, as well as the community management team, which both have been working like mad to get this out to us behind the scenes, as well as personally saying that this was a wonderful experience. I can't wait to play the next version, whether it's another alpha build or beta build, whether it's open to us or just the public in general, because like I've said a few times over the course of these videos, there were those two high benchmarks of, was this going to be a great Diablo game, and was this going to be a great game period, were in my eyes met and surpassed, and I could not be more happy with the way the game is now. Yes, I've pointed out a few things. I'll still fight those, as I always have in other Diablo games, but with so much more to look forward to, and seeing the quality of what we have right now, truly upstanding job on what we have now, and just chopping at the bit to play more. So again, thank you for having me in the Tech Alpha. Look forward to more, and yeah, that's it without getting redundant about it all. So again, thank you for watching. You can see more at blizzpro.com. Eventually everything will be simul-posted on my personal website, Dredscythe.com. And until the next video, have a good night, folks.